and you'll see what I mean about this bike.
So yep, just as the title says, DR650 versus T7. Now, I have actually owned a DR650 for, oh geez, I reckon it would have been at least probably maybe 2 years, something like that. So that was our entry into the adventure style riding. So me and Lockie, who you've seen on other videos, we both had DR650s. I should probably do another video about this, but I actually owned the WR250R, the DRZ400E, and the DR650. So they're like the three most premium dual sport bikes. Well, I guess budget dual sport adventure bikes, because there are, like, you know, you got the 690s and you got the European stuff, but we want things that don't break. So that's what we were looking at. That's what I looked at the time, and I owned all three. And so I've got a little bit of a reasonable idea on what they're like. And in the end, I ended up with the DR650, but that's probably another story as to why I ended up with that bike. But me and Rob were riding on these tracks on a nice summer's night, and I asked him if he wanted to swap bikes. So he has to go on my bike, and I'll let you know his thoughts. Unfortunately, I didn't get to interview him after the ride, but I pretty much remember what he was talking about. So I'll show you a bit of footage, and then I'll let you know my thoughts.
Yeah, and you'll see what I mean about this bike. The side stand was bypass and the clutch is bypass. Old friend, the DR.
Watch out, it's got no safeties on it.
Well, that's no ABS, nothing on that bike. So, oh wow, this feels like a toy. You haven't even gone anywhere yet.
So Rob's immediate reaction to the Tenere 700 was, wow, this thing is so smooth. And that was pretty much my instant reaction too, because I remember test riding a Tenere 700 and I rode the DR650 there and then jumped on the T7, and I just thought, holy crap, this is a smooth bike.
Yeah. No way.
So the DR650 and the Tenere 700, they're similar but also so different. They're kind of on the cusp of each end of their own segment, I guess. So the Tenere 700 is like on the cusp of being a street bike, and the DR650 is on the cusp of being a dirt bike. So there is quite a large overlap. Look, in my opinion, the DR650 versus the Tenere 700, there is no competition on the street. The Tenere is better in every possible way. The brakes are better, the engine is smoother, and you have more power. And in my opinion, it actually feels a lot more stable on the road as well. The part where the DR650 gets ahead of the Tenere 700 is on really difficult off-road tracks. So in another video, I'm going down a steep hill on my Tenere, and Rob doesn't seem to have anywhere near as much trouble than I did going down it. Not that anything bad happened, but it was quite challenging going down such a steep descent. And the elephant in the room with the Tenere 700 compared to the DR650 is the overall weight. Okay, so there's no ifs or buts. The Tenere 700, despite what you see Paul Torres doing on all these amazing videos, he's a gun rider, clearly. That's not really the reality for most people, and myself included. So if you're an average guy like myself and you just want to get out and have fun, the Tenere 700, it's a very, very heavy bike. And once it starts to fall, like, I feel like it's going to fall. Unless you're over 6 foot and you weigh, 100 kilos plus, it's probably going to go down.
It's a big turbine. Big friendly giant. And you're on road tires too, remember?
So yeah, look, it's a heavy bike, alright? I could bang on about the weight of this bike all day, but there's still a lot of other positives about it, and mostly in the street characteristics for the type of riding that we're doing. We are doing adventure touring style riding, so the weight, while it is an issue on some of the harder tracks, you can let it slide because the bike is so nice on the road and still feels like a dirt bike when you're riding it. The DR650, it's kind of the opposite. Also, the DR650 has to have some money put into it to make it reasonably capable. The DR650 bog stock off the showroom floor is probably an abysmal bike. I don't think I've actually ever ridden a stock DR650. Rob's one has had suspension work, it's got a pipe, it's been jetted, it's got different gearing, it has different handlebars, and it rides pretty good. It rode similar to my old bike, and again, my one had similar mods done to it. It had, you know, the big tank. I don't think I had suspension done like his one. I just had some thicker oil in there, and I believe that was about, like, you know, exhaust, jetted. I mucked around with the airbox. I could make a whole other video about airbox and tuning DR650s. Me and Lockie did a lot of tweaking and tinkering and mucking around with jets and different sized airbox holes and messing with the carburetor. And you know what? I reckon I will make another video. But for now, let's just talk about the T7 and the DR650. Like, which one should you buy? If you have the budget, honestly, I would probably say go the T7. If you've ridden off-road bikes before and you're pretty confident you can handle most things that are out there, the T7 is probably a no-brainer. If you're a big, strong guy, again, T7. The only times I would recommend the DR650 is if you know the trails are going to get really, really hard and you need to be able to pick the bike up on your own. That said, I remember dropping the DR650 on a pretty sketchy single track me and Lockie were on. It was uphill, it was off camber, and to be honest, I couldn't even pick the bike up. It fell on top of me, I kind of kicked it off, there was fuel pouring out of it because it's carbureted, and I tried to lift it and I just couldn't. So all I could do was literally stand there, turn the fuel off, and wait for Lockie to eventually come back, because this was before we had intercoms, so we couldn't communicate, and he came back and helped me pick it up. So even from instances like that, if you are doing solo riding, you're probably better off with a smaller bike again and just sucking up the crappy road feeling of these dual sport single cylinder bikes. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. Do you like these rambling style videos? I could honestly go on almost all day about them, but I think it's probably worth making another video about the WR250R, the DRZ400 and the DR650. So I'll get to that when I have some time. Anyway, catch you in the next one. Enjoy your two wheels.